So swiftly, my dear friends, we are in the third Sunday of Lent. The first Sunday we saw God making a covenant with Noah, guaranteeing him a blessing that he will not destroy humanity with flood again. And in the gospel we saw the temptation of Jesus. Last week it was Abraham's turn. He was asked to sacrifice his son, but God will eventually stop him. And in the gospel we had the transfiguration, how through his passion and death God will be glorifying Jesus. And in today's readings, we see the third important person, Moses, giving the 10 Commandments. I have often wondered, there are many of us here who are driving for many years. We have been good citizens. We always keep the law very closely to our heart. And we always try to make sure that we do not offend anybody by breaking rules. But have you ever been complimented? Have you ever received a certificate of merit from JPJ for not breaking any rules for the past 50 years? Never, nothing. Then why are you still doing good? Why are you not breaking rules if all these years nobody has ever given you a thank you card? Or the minister said, no, we should always appreciate those who are law keepers. Why? Because we are good people. Good people don't wait to be rewarded. We do the right things because that is the right thing to do. Can you imagine Malacca Central, not for one day, just for 1 minute, at the traffic light, all the cars moves at the same time. You will have chaos. And imagine that happening in the whole country or in the whole world. We will find that chaos is everywhere. And because of that, we need some kind of rules and regulations. If I were to ask you, can you name me one rule of the country at the moment? All of you will tell what? 1,000 ringgit for one face mask. Everybody knows that rule. Because why? You will know the moment you don't wear, only somebody will say, hi, and they will smile at you. So you will keep this law very close to you. But in the readings today, we are not told to keep laws out of fear, but because out of love. When Moses brought the people out, the first stage was the deliverance. The second one is the covenant. The people will agree, yes, I will be your people and God will be their God. The covenant is made first. Then only the rules come in. So how do we do these rules today? The 10 Commandments divided into two parts. The first part is for God. The second part is for men, relationship with one another. And out of these 10, only 2 are positive commandments. Remember to keep holy the Sabbath day and honor your father and mother. All the other 8 are 9. All the other 8 are all negative commandments. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. All the 8 are all negative. But these commandments are for those who are weak. Those who are weak, we need rules. For those who have got no problem with all these are only guidelines for us. I don't know how many of you here have really fallen in love. Really, really in love. Not the one when you see the girl, suddenly your heart will go fast, your stomach will have butterfly, your blood will rush to the brain, and then your hand becomes cold, and the girl touch your hand, only electric shock will go through your body, and TNB will send the electric bill at the end of the month. Not this one. I am talking about somebody you meet by chance or with an encounter, and that person changes you. Suddenly you become more patient. You become more loving. How it happens, you do not know. But that person changes you. You become more patient, more caring. If you always used to curse, now suddenly you're always blessing. And why does this happen? Because of love. When you fall in love or somebody falls in love with you, you'll find that that person is able to change himself. Parents will be telling for 40 years, nothing happens. The girl just tells him for 40 minutes, everything happens. Change comes when we love. If not, it is difficult. Today, all the commandments of God is only possible if we love God. If we love Him, then we will find all this we do or we don't do because we want to get closer to God. I think this same encounter is what we should be aiming at also. The opening hymn today I deliberately took as the deer that pants. We have not experienced much thirst in this country, but in places where there are a lot of desert, scarce of water, whenever they see water, there is great joy. In our own lives, I think we have to see God as someone we are always longing and thirsting for. And we long and thirst for God by keeping His commandments, by doing what is right, because we love Him. And Lent is a time to ask ourselves, are we living our lives right in relation with God and in relation with man? And in this process, definitely, we will get a lot of crosses coming along our way. To be a Christian means to be a cross bearer. You have to carry a cross. Whether we like it or not, whether you get a cross or not, somebody will give you a cross. You just have to carry and go. In the second reading, that's why when Paul was beginning to proclaim or preach about the good news of Christ, he knew that the crucifixion will meet with a lot of opposition. You talk about the miracles of Jesus, people will accept. But the moment you mention crucifixion, death on the cross, somebody being nailed to a tree, it has got a bad connotation. For the Jews, because of the sin of Adam and Eve, when somebody was hanged on the cross, it was a curse. And that's why they say, be accursed on anyone who is hanging on the cross. So it is not a blessing. Deuteronomy 21, be accursed. Moses himself will tell, anybody is hanging on the cross, because the sin came through disobedience of eating from the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. But Jesus comes to change that. Jesus did not commit any sin. So when He comes and He goes to His death on the cross, it changes it. It becomes a blessing. But for the Jews, this is something which they cannot accept. That's why Paul will tell, for them, they cannot accept this. It is a big obstacle because they knew, be accursed on anyone who is hanged on the cross. What is the problem with the Greeks? The Greeks were always interested in knowledge, on wisdom. Wisdom, or in Greek it is called Sophia. They always liked knowledge. People can talk very well, the Greeks like. They are interested in knowledge. But today Paul is going there and he is preaching something which both people cannot agree. Both also, the Jews also doesn't accept this, the Greeks also doesn't accept this. But he says the crucified Christ, the power of God and the wisdom of God, the both they are looking for is found in this one act of Jesus. And that is what crucifixion will do for us also. We find that there is a lot of cross in our lives, but these crosses are the means we grow through holiness. Today, for the way of the cross, knowingly or unknowingly, I purposely made you to repeat that word, Jesus, remember me. The words of the repentant thief on the cross. 28 times you said that. You are not going to forget it, which is good. That is why sometimes I have to ask you to repeat things. Today, purposely, I make you repeat 28 times. Because that is what is important. When we are hanging on the cross, we are supposed to look at Jesus and say, Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom, when you come in your glory. And then it will make us that whenever we are hanging on the cross, when we look to the right, Jesus is there, hanging with us. And sometimes even with his injured or wounded hands, he is still trying to reach out to us to console and to touch us. That's how much God loves us. And in the gospel today, we find the story of Jesus cleansing the temple. I don't know how many of you have gone to a house where people were staying for many, many years. I still remember when we were in the seminary, there was one old staff who was working there for more than 25, almost 30 years. The day he retired and he had to go, we had to go and clean his room, to empty the room. Oh Lord, come to our help. All the 30 years of things, from the newspaper to the plastic bottle to the tin can, whatever you can think of, everything was there. I don't know why he was keeping it, but he was keeping it. We took a few lorries just to clear all the things out. This is what many people do. Even for those of us who have been staying in the same house for many, many years, go back and check today, how much of things have we accumulated over the years? And that is why the seminary is very good. Every year change room. So even if you don't wash your room or clean your room the whole year, at least once a year you have to clean the room before you vacate and go to your next room. We are forced to keep the place clean. And I think we should also impose this on the people also. At least once a year. Clean your house. Cleanliness is good for your soul. At least once a year go and make a good confession. It is good for us also. That is the cleansing Jesus is trying to do today. Not so much of going and chasing the people away, but trying to put the importance of cleanliness in the church as a way to grow in holiness. If you were to go to the Jerusalem temple, it is generally divided into 5 parts. The most inner part is known as the Holy of Holies. During the time of Jesus, there was nothing there. Because during the Babylonian exile, the Ark of the Covenant, the 10 Commandments all go missing. Only later in the Chronicles, we will find that Jeremiah will take all that and go and hide it in the mountain. All that is in the Bible. So during the time of Jesus, nothing was there. But it was still considered as the Holy of Holies. They just had some things inside there, but the 10 Commandments was not there. The second part is the court of the priests, and that is where the priests will go offer incense, put the light and all that. That is the second part. The third one is the court of the Israelite men. Only men can go there. The fourth one was the court of the women. Women can only go there. Number 4 only. 1, 2 and 3 you cannot touch. Cannot go also. Then what is the last one? Number 5. Number 5 is the Gentile court. Court of the Gentiles. So today when Jesus is cleansing it, where is it happening? Number 5. This place is for those who are non-Jews. This is the only place they can enter and pray. And that is the place they are doing business. And why are they doing business there? One is because they need to give sacrifices whenever they come for Passover. This story is happening during Passover. They have to sacrifice a lamb. And what is the problem? Some people, poor people, when they are traveling from north, and then Jerusalem is in the south, when they are going there with their lamb or with their offertory, what happens? On the way, the lamb will get injured, or it will get a cut, or it will get sick. So when it comes to Jerusalem, all this will be rejected. The priest will see and say, this one cannot, not fit, not fit. You go and buy the lamb there. That is why they are selling there. Not to say people didn't prepare. They will prepare. But along the way, something will happen. So they have to buy there. So the lamb sellers are there. What's with the money changes? Money changes not because of euro and US currencies. They had only one problem. The general currency there was the currency of the Romans. And that's what they will do. But when you come to the temple, they have to change into shekel. Very smart. Only shekel is used in the temple. So the money changes there are just for the purpose of the temple only. So they are there to sell that. Then the pigeons. What's with the pigeon? Pigeon are poor people's offertory. The poorest of the poor will just offer pigeons. So when you see the presentation of the Lord, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, what did they offer? Pigeons. So they were poor people. They were not rich. And this is why all these animals are there. And Jesus is coming and he is not going against the tradition or the culture. He is only telling, don't sell all these here. You are depriving people of meeting God, of praying. I thank God our church, at least when you come, there are not many selling outside this and that. Whenever you go for sometime big festivals, half of the time our mind is what? Outside. After this, we must buy the murukula, must buy the tosela, must buy the statula, must buy everything else. Your mind is outside. You forget who is inside. The God who is inside is not in our mind. The things which are outside are filling up our mind. Same problem here. Then we have to be very careful. What is it that we are coming to do? This is why Jesus is cleansing the temple today. And during the season of Lent, it is also a time for us to do our own cleansing. Make a good preparation. I think there will be confessions in parishes this year. Go and make a good confession for your own good, not for my good. I go for confession, that is for my good. You go for confession, it is for your own good. We do not get any other benefit. You get the benefit. God receives us back And today Jesus, when he's coming and cleansing the temple, he wants to make a way clear. So this is the fifth one. The fourth one, I said, whose area? Court of woman. If you would have taken year A, what is the reading of the year A gospel? The Samaritan woman. Jesus will encounter women after this, trying to help them. Then the third one, who are the third ones? The Israelite men. Jesus will also teach them along the way how to come back to true worship. Next week we will have the text on Nicodemus. Then when it comes to the inner part, the priest, when do Jesus meet the priest finally? His last encounter, the final countdown, the trial. He will be facing with all the people there. And finally, when does Jesus go to the Holy of Holies? When he has died, when they hung him on the cross, and Jesus replaces the old temple with his own body. The whole mystery of salvation, Jesus slowly goes in until he reaches the place of Calvary. So my dear friends, we also will go through this in our own struggles. The more we keep sin, the more we keep hatred in our hearts without cleansing it, the more stronger the stain of sin becomes in our heart. If some of us are finding it very difficult to forgive or to forget or to let somebody go because the stain of sin has become very hard in our life, what do? Sometimes need to pour acid. But in your heart, don't pour acid. Don't pour acid in your mouth or in your body. Nothing will come out. The only acid you need is go and make a good confession. And be sorry about it. Don't give excuses. And you will find that Jesus himself will come and cleanse us. He will heal our wounds. He will make us feel that we are truly loved.